Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. It's been quite a minute. Welcome to our latest community update. We try to do these on a fairly regular basis, and when we don't, we do them on Discord to just make sure everybody stays in the loop on all things VeVe and Ecomi. Everything said here is just for community update purposes and never financial advice. That said, I'm Alex from marketing, and today I'm joined once again by COO and co-founder Dan Crothers and CEO co-founder David Yu. How you guys doing?
We're doing well, thanks. Back in the office.
Great,
yes,
thank you. Yeah,
welcome back. Yes, indeed. Mitch can't join us today. He's a bit under the weather, so we hope he feels better soon. But we do have an action-packed episode today of the community update for April. Now, you guys were traveling quite a bit, which is why we kind of missed the last 2 months of recorded video format. We did do Discord community updates with Mitch and Reese. But do you guys just want to give a quick recap on what that trip was about and what you achieved while on the road?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. We apologize that we have missed our fans for the last 2 months in Feb and March. Exciting period. Obviously, a lot of places we went, and many of you, just before we start this, many of you will know VeVe was born and launched during the COVID period. So in that period of time, most of our staff, contractors were all working remotely. It was only the first time, we meet with our CTL, our engineer, all around throughout the world. So part of February, we went to India, we went to Korea, we were Taipei for some time, and basically up in Europe for a weekend of meeting and then back in here at the office. So sum up, breathtaking is the one word. We met some of the most extraordinary engineers, team members throughout the world. It was very important that the company are in touch with, their key employee and the key rollout. So we spend a lot of time going through the roadmap, meet some of the VeVe fans. And in this particular case, I want to do a quick shout out to Akesh. I'm not sure if you guys remember the gentleman who gave us one of these Steamboat Willie. He made a special silver edition of a couple beautiful necklaces with the new VeVe logo on it.
So that's very nice.
Handmade, all in sterling silver. Just really understanding the culture throughout the Asia as VeVe start to enter into this market. As a lot of our users know, Asia has not been our strongest area, and that's where the world's largest population is sitting at. So we want to see how we can work with this community in different parts of the geolocation throughout the Asia, in India and particularly the Greater China, the Korean, the Japanese market. Part of our trip also is re-engaging with our partners there. So we visit a lot of studios, whether music studios, recording studio, gaming studios, really understanding some of the partnership and initiative that we could be rolling out with VeVe. Other parts is really understanding, some of the basic foundations, integrating payment gateways, which we'll talk a little bit more later on in these updates coming. So pretty much that's what we've been doing. It's been a long trip, and with the time difference is the only reason why we did not make these video for February and March.
Yeah. So obviously it was quite a minute since you guys were traveling, and I know it seemed like an eternity, the community. So we appreciate your patience while we, tried to hold the fort down between Mitch, myself, and Reese, and any messaging that we could get out there in the form of community updates on the Discord. But just to kind of touch on that, and Dan and David, I'll let you touch on this a little bit. These community updates are our primary means of communication these days, outside of any kind of key information that would hit the blog or special kind of update announcements on our socials and in the Discord. But these videos really will continue to be the primary means of communication for all of things, larger kind of scale roadmap, vision, plan, ecosystem based for all of VeVe moving forward. So we understand this frustration in not hearing from the team, but I think generally, really, we just want to stay heads down and getting out all of the features and deliverables that I know you are so looking forward to. But yeah, the community updates will continue to be our primary means of communication. Do you want to take a little bit more on that, Dan, in terms of, I know sentiment's been a little bit down, obviously I know people miss you. I've missed you. But yeah, talk a little bit about, why it's important that, A, that trip was made to kind of meet with some of the new engineers, and B, what we're doing to kind of work towards getting some of these deliverables out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like Dave said, as we build out our roadmap, which, working with Mitch and the team, we have very, very solid technology roadmap for the next few years. And that requires, in order for us to execute that effectively, it requires a number of different things. So we really wanted to make sure that we were meeting up with the developers who, as Dave mentioned, some of them we have actually never even met, even though they've been with the company for, 3 or 4 years. So it was really good meeting up with them, going through the roadmap, getting everyone's buy-in and understanding, on exactly what we're doing. I guess, just some of the things that David and I did want to touch on is, we absolutely have your best interests at heart. We are passionate about VeVe, we're passionate about collectibles, and the decisions that we make are always with the VeVe fam in mind. In saying that, I know that there are some of the VeVe fam out there who are frustrated, and we do understand that you feel that way. But from our side, really, we have been focusing a lot on the longer term vision of VeVe and where it's going in the next couple of years. And this is all part of the product roadmap, tie-in, etc. And in order for us to roll this out effectively, we really need to be focusing on infrastructure internally so we can scale very rapidly, we can roll features out on a more regular basis. And both Mitch, Nesta, and myself have been doing a lot of work on the teams internally to make sure we have that infrastructure in place. So I just wanted to say from my side, I do apologize if you guys feel that we have under-delivered, missed deadlines. Obviously, that's never our intention. Everything that we have said is going to come out. But like I say, it really, the reason is because we have been investing quite a lot in this team infrastructure, so we can really just start to roll out features, very rapidly. And then lastly, I just wanted to say, that we are very bullish on the future of digital collectibles. I mean, just collecting in general has been around forever. VeVe is a fun app. We know as, we get through this current period, we speed up on our development side, et cetera, that, the app and the product is going to grow, and the love for digital collectibles is absolutely going to continue to increase out there. All
right. So moving on, let's just get into a few things in terms of growth and some of the team updates. Dan, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I guess just off the back of what I was saying earlier, I did want to update the VeVe fam just on the growth side of things and what we've been doing internally with the team. So as I mentioned, we've been doing a lot of infrastructure work, VeVe has, Dave, I think we're 60 plus employees now. We've been bringing on a lot of new specialized roles, product managers, product owners, architects, obviously more developers.
Yeah, yep. And so people understand these 40 also does not include all the designers out there that design. This doesn't include the team, the third-party team that's building VeVeVerse with us, and many hundreds more of artists out there. These are the core development group that works with our little ecosystem here.
Yeah, exactly. And so, as we build out this infrastructure internally, it's very important that we have all of these specific roles lined up. So, as we start to develop features or roll out features, we've got all of the right key people, to make sure that it's all been pushed through. And, one of the other key infrastructure changes we made within the development team in particular is really dividing the team up into very specific groups. For example, groups focusing on commerce, groups focusing on engagement, groups focusing on platform, etc. And, we're really pushing, a very strong narrative internally that, if you're in a particular team around commerce or engagement, then it's all about product focus objectives, making sure that what we roll out is really what you guys want to see, and is really kind of hitting the mark there. On the in the marketing side of things, so one of the points I'll touch on is the KYC update. So once that has rolled out, and I'll give you some updates on that in the future, we can really start to begin our marketing a lot more effectively. Yeah. Right now, there is a blockage. When people come into the app, they have to go through KYC. And just, a note on that side of things, we get tens of thousands of users signing up each month, but the percentage that goes through KYC is still fairly small. So our whole objective of pushing KYC right down the user journey means that all of these people that come in, these tens of thousands of people that sign up each month but do not KYC, they will now be available to take part in drops and interact with the app, etc. So we have some new marketing specialists starting next week. So we're going to be all fairly well aligned with when KYC is pushed further down the line. And then we can really start targeting specific fandoms, whether that's Star Wars or specific artists or Disney fans, bringing them through a funnel and really getting them engaged. So it's going to be a very exciting time. And, us and the team have worked very hard internally. I know it may seem externally that we haven't been doing much, but there's been a lot of kind of internal work going on. So those were kind of the two other sort of main things that I wanted to touch on.
And just to, kind of further on that point, we mentioned in the two community updates while you were traveling that, a lot of what we've been working on, again, is infrastructure, and that goes for the marketing end as well. And those are, tools that are going to enable us to be more informed and data-driven with our marketing efforts. Obviously, be prepared to when that KYC gets moved down the user journey, that we're able to more effectively onboard people from those kind of, targeted user segments, be it collectors or fandoms, community groups, etc., or any of the targets that we identify as people who may be interested in digital collecting. So most of what marketing-wise has been happening behind the scenes and all infrastructure based. So you'll start to see the fruits of those labors fairly soon, as soon as we get KYC move down that user journey and start to bring on people in earnest. Okay, let's move on then to just kind of touch on briefly, as part of the marketing efforts, you saw that we did release the new blog, and maybe, kind of small potatoes to a lot of people out there. For us, it was actually a very big deal because it allows us to kind of, consolidate all of the flow of information through the VeVe site. And that does a number of things. Obviously, it gives a more easily browsable user experience that is on brand, but also helps, the case of SEO and for us to kind of show up in the search more often as people are looking for digital collectibles or, Star Wars NFTs or whatever the case is, right? And so I think this is just kind of one step in the process of starting to kind of get the information and really kind of put a foothold as the leader in the space when it comes to digital collecting. But also we wanted to acknowledge, for new users coming on who may still have, we'll say outdated ideas about the environmental impacts of collectibles, digital collectibles and NFTs. This article that we put on around carbon neutrality, around Earth Day, was mainly kind of geared towards a general use audience and people coming to the space for the first time. I think we took a lot of learnings from the Sesame Street drop in that fandom, and how they reacted to with some pretty antiquated ideas about NFTs effects on the environment, right? And it's important that we get control that narrative moving forward with our licensors and for people casually looking for information in the space. So this was a very general audience article again, but we'll start to kind of expand on topics of this nature, and also kind of dive into some more of the more technical details, because obviously that article is very high level, doesn't kind of get into the nitty gritty of layer 2 and all that. We didn't want to bog down people with any technical jargon. So browse around the blog, open to ideas that you may have, and if anybody out there wants to be a guest writer on a topic about collecting, whether it's digital comics, whatever, please do hit us up. We are open to kind of expanding however we can to kind of further the story of digital collecting in general. Okay, so let's move into some product updates. I know that's generally what people have been waiting for. Let's start with quickly a merge accounts reminder. Many of you have gotten email and saw our updates on socials that the deadline for that is April 30th. This video should be out before that time. But just to note, you need to go to the article on the blog, fill out the form before April 30th in order to merge a non-KYC'd account into a KYC'd account. All of the collectibles, gems will be transferred. MCP points will not. All the information is in the article. We'll link that down in the description. But anything else to add on that front, Dan?
No, I think you hit all the main points there.
Okay. Next up is an update on payout. Obviously, we had to pause payout shortly, but we brought it back up for US only. So international users are still unable to use payout as time of recording of this video. Do you have an update for where we are in the process with getting the provider to re-enable that, and what we're looking to do to prevent this from happening in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just to preface this conversation is, right now, financial payout is under a lot of regulatory scrutiny. So, that's why we see a lot of these companies, sometimes they have to pull back into the US while they, redo their compliance, etc. But in terms of our existing provider, we are working with them to hopefully get international payments out in the near future. So they have said that there are some solutions that they're working on. And in the background, we also have started to integrate some backup options just in case this happens again in the future. Like I said at the beginning, we've always got your interest in heart. We want to make sure that we have payout. Obviously, it's a very key feature in the app. But because we use a lot of third-party providers for these financial services, a lot of the time we're at the whim of either them or at some regulatory body. So if we can just ask for a little bit more patience there, and hopefully in the next sort of few weeks, no guarantees, but this is what we're aiming for, that we can re-enable the international payout. Failing that, then we will have a backup provider coming into the platform.
Good. And then I think a lot of the question that comes with this, and we've touched on this in the past, in terms of crypto payout, lots of, again, regulatory considerations to take on that, but also a lot of AML, anti-money laundering, and making sure that function could not be exploited. Do we have any update in terms of our support of crypto payout in the near to midterm?
Yeah, so as you say, Alex, with all of this regulatory stuff going on, crypto is, kind of at the heart of that at the moment. So we do need to be very cautious with crypto payout. I mean, ultimately, the way that the law works is that we are the ones who will be liable if there is any kind of laundering or whatever through the platform. So we need to be very secure in our own technologies, our own payment stack, to make sure that cannot be exploited. And Mitch and the team are continuing to work on that. And as part of the KYC optimizations we're doing, is also improving the strength of that AML compliant side of things. So don't have an actual update on when Crypto-Payout is going to come back at this stage, just purely because of what is happening in that global environment. But we'll absolutely keep you updated.
Okay, great. All right, moving on. I think a lot of you have noticed a good amount of people thus far, not everybody, has seen Master Collector program points, ranks, and levels rolled out into their profile tab in the app and on the web app. Although it's been very exciting, we are working still towards getting it out to many more people so that you can really see where you stack up against other VeVe fam. We just did put out the articles outlining the program with a few minor changes of note. Everything is still as it is in the point structure. I think the only thing we've changed is kind of really how the waitlist kind of seats work, or how they will work rather. But all the information can be found. I'll put the link down in the description for the Start Here article, and you can spend as much time as you like with that. But Dan, do you want to kind of give us an update on where we are with recalibrating on? I know there's some kind of wonky point totals for some people, making sure the rest of the user base gets it, and where we're tracking with everything MCP.
Firstly, I'd like to say that I am super excited for Master Collector program. I know it has been a long time coming, but it's going to allow us to do so many things on so many different levels. If you are rank X and above, you'll get access to this feature or that feature. Or if you get X number of points, as Alex mentioned, you can use those to kind of boost your waitlist entries, for example. So it's really going to allow us to I guess, focus and reward more on those collectors who, do have big collections and are, a really big part of the community. So really looking forward to starting to roll out phase 2, which is in scoping right now. In terms of the rollout, I believe it's 80 to 90,000 users have been whitelisted for Master Collector program. And I did just want to touch on the whitelist. Please don't think that we are picking and choosing in any way. In fact, a lot of the way that we determine the waitlist is making sure that we get certain buckets of users, like users with, thousands of collectibles, users with only a few collectibles and 100 collectibles, because we need to kind of see, how the system is going to work with each of these different levels. And also, if you are a very high level user and you haven't received the whitelist, I do apologize, but it's more than likely because you probably have so much data that needs to be crunched. We want to make sure that, all of those systems are working, within these sort of limits to start off with.
That's just how people really want it, Dan. Like it's a sought after feature. Like I get it, but yeah, again, just to echo Dan's point there, that it was, please don't take it personally. It is being rolled out in a very methodical way. Although, we've said random, it is basically random groups within user, collection sizes, activity level, etc. So, if you have not gotten it yet, you will get it soon enough, and then you can start to see within beta currently. You're only kind of ranking against those people in beta. Once it's open to everybody, then you'll really get to see where you stand. So nobody's missing out on anything at this point other than just literally seeing the numbers.
Yeah, and I noticed that, I did actually lose a rank overnight, so I'm going to have to start bolstering my collection, I think. As Alex mentioned, the MCP articles have gone live. So, you can see the full points breakdown, the ranking breakdown, and we'll continue to expand those articles out as we develop the features further. Yes. Now, in terms of the rollout, so talking with Mitch, by the end of May, everybody should have access. And I guess that leads me on to my next point is I did want to explain, why Master Collector did take so long. And it's for a couple of reasons. So number one, as I mentioned, we have been investing a lot in the infrastructure, and that is pretty much done and dusted now. And that took a lot of time for the teams to recalibrate, etc. The other part of it is that, with the Master Collector program, especially for, our OGs, like there is so much data on just for an individual user. So when we first started calculating the master collector points for individual people, it was taking a very long time. So rather than, roll it out and, potentially have you guys waiting in the app for days for the points to get calculated, we had to go back to the drawing board a little bit, make sure the infrastructure of the data was fully optimized. And then we've been able to pump that into a bit of a server cloud so we can, really start crunching all of those numbers. So please don't think we're resting on our laurels. Right now, as I speak, there's data being crunched in the background, and as that all gets processed, especially this is actually all just for the retrospective, any new users coming on board, no problem with that. So that's sort of two of the main reasons that it did take a while. And then obviously it's a complex, there's a lot of complex calculations in there. We need to make sure that they are correct. As Alex mentioned, there are a few erroneous point totals out there. So it's not things that we can just turn around, in sort of 24, 48 hours. A lot of the time, the team has to really dive in, to the calculations and, work out where things might have gone slightly awry.
Especially for you stackers of
Yes.
comics and collectibles that have 50 plus editions of any specific rarities, those calculations get a little hairy. But okay, well that's great. Look, the people who have got the beta access are really excited about it. I'm really excited to get the rest of the people on it, and obviously I'm even more excited to start kind of building out ways for people to actually use their points. All of which will keep people updated and as Dan mentioned, starting to expand those articles. One thing after those articles came out last week, noticeably, I wouldn't say missing, but maybe not outlined as much as there will be, is the OUP, or what we're calling now MCP plus OUP equals loyalty. Right, that we had mentioned that there's plenty of OMI utility in the works, and that we're finding more synergies between the two programs, so it's easier to use. Because I think what we noticed after developing the two programs is it just kind of maybe got a little complicated for everybody to use within the app or web app environment. Can you talk a little bit more about what the expectations are and how we're going to find the synergies between those two programs, and what the update is in terms of adding some of that information to those articles?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the MCP and OUP now fall under a wider umbrella called loyalty. And, I've got to applaud Mitch for, all of the effort that he has put into this. I mean, ultimately we want anybody, whether they're using MCP or OUP, to have that really focused on benefits within VeVe. I mean, because ultimately, this is the collectible platform. And, by having both of these, both MCP and OUP, we can help address the crypto market as well as the collector market. However, if you are both of those markets, then, you're probably going to have an advantage. So I know that internally the OUP articles, or actually the overall loyalty articles and content are just about to be finalized. Reese and Adam also, applauding those guys. They have also put a lot of effort into, how we can include the OMI utility into the platform, still based on what we have released previously, but, how can we get everything more aligned into, a greater loyalty program for the VeVe fans.
Great. All right, we'll look forward to that. All right, let's talk about, as part of that, let's transition into some of the current objectives we're working on. Part of that MCP plus OUP equals loyalty thing is OMI to NFT. Can you talk a little bit about that, as well as some other current objectives that we're working on in the background?
Yeah, exactly. So as part of the first part of the OUP side of things is building in the OMI to NFT. Unfortunately, Mitch is not here, so I don't actually have too much details about this, but I know that the priorities right now, we're still doing the tail end of MCP, but the teams have already started to work and scope on what's coming next in loyalty, and that's two main things. On the OUP side is OMI to NFT, which is what's getting underway, and then the second part is the ability to spend your MCP points. Obviously, as we've discussed in the past, you'll be able to use your MCP points to do things like boost your waitlist entries, and a whole range of other features which will roll out over time. And I think you guys might remember from DCon last year that we did announce the game Tengoku. So that is coming along very well. It's been in beta for quite a while now. So far the feedback's been very, very good, and we hope to have a nice video update for you guys on that in the coming weeks.
Awesome. Okay, looking forward to that. So that's Tengoku, and then in addition to those things mentioned, we also have the next iteration of the crafting burning mechanic that we initially rolled out as part of the Disney Platinum Moments Transformative Potion and Platinum Moments figures and posters. Now, that was a great, it's been great so far. I think the deadline will have passed by the time this video comes out, but we saw a lot of great activity around people, almost gamifying it to see, which poster was going to come out as the rarest, and uncapping that potion to unlock those beautiful Platinum Moment posters. Let's talk about, the next iteration of crafting and burning. This is something we've been talking about for quite some time. I think all the way back from DCon UK late last year, in terms of being able to introduce these functionalities and these mechanics to the overall collecting experience. Can you talk a little bit about crafting in general and what we can expect as the next iteration from here?
Yeah, so we've been working very hard on building out the crafting functionality. We just see this as a really fun activity to do in the app. Obviously, there are people out there who have thousands of collectibles, and the ability to merge or burn multiple collectibles to get one rare one, or maybe one of many. It just opens up so many opportunities for both, you guys, the VeVe fam, and also, what we can do with our licensors, and, what we can just offer as a product. So yeah, we do have some very exciting crafting opportunities, or I guess collectible drops coming up. And we're really, really excited to just expand more on exactly what you'll be able to do with this crafting. I won't say too much more now, because I know we've got some content coming out fairly soon that is going to elaborate a lot more on how it works.
So as we like to say, hashtag soon. All right, so let's move on then to Waitlist. As of the last app update, or I think the update before last, Waitlist functionality is now in production within the app. It's just a matter now of identifying some test drops and moving it into kind of a regular scope of how we do drops in parallel with other types of drops, be it blind box or individual sale. Can you talk a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, so well done to Mitch and the team for getting Waitlist out. So as Alex mentioned, it was actually rolled out into production already. And we are just waiting for the new VeVe 3D logo to be modeled. And once that's done, we'll be doing our first Waitlist drop. Now, I think we might have covered this in the past, but yeah, so Waitlist will effectively replace the drop type that we're doing now, where you click that Buy Now button. And this will apply to both blind box and non-blind box. So we're going to trial it on a few, VeVe to start with, and then a few other licensors who have agreed to be part of that test run. And for us, this is a big feature because, we want to make sure that the drop model is democratic. And, obviously we have a lot of international users who do feel that they are disadvantaged by the current drop system. So yeah, just very happy that, we're getting these features kind of out into production and rolled out. So stay tuned. The VeVe logo shouldn't be too far away. And as soon as that's done, we'll be able to get our first test drop out.
Got it. And so we mentioned in the past that it was going to be individual VeVe letters. So we've kind of now transitioned away from that idea, and we're doing a VeVe logo, a version of the VeVe logo. Is that correct?
Well, I'll probably still get all of the letters in individually. We'll just decide, what is the best way to do it. We do need to test a blind box and a non-blind box, so we'll just see what's what the approach is there.
Because I know I'm sure people remind you regularly on Twitter, but the people from last year's
I know.
Decon kickoff party, summer kickoff party. Will receive those, but I'm not sure what the format is going to be, but they still will receive something. Don't worry. We're not changing course on that. Okay. Well, look, we are end of April, and last update we talked about mid-April beta invites for, drumroll, the VeVeVerse. Now, some people have been using a very small group, and there are still some things to work through. But let's talk currently about where we are with that initial beta group of invites, very small group, and what we can expect from VeVeVerse in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Alex. So yeah, I guess I just want to basically, clear the slate, let everybody know exactly where we're at. And obviously we are tracking a bit behind on this one. And I just want to remind people that this is a very complex project. It's way bigger than the VeVe app in itself. It's an entire metaverse with a lot of security concerns, privacy concerns, all the social tools, etc. So we are progressing well, and we're working very, very hard to deliver to the fans. I mean, I use the VeVeVerse almost daily as we're setting up, and it's just sometimes I just get completely lost and absorbed in setting up my room and rather than talking to the developers. So it is very, very fun to use. And I do also from my side, I do understand that there probably is some frustration out there about what the hell is happening with VeVeVerse. So I'm going to make sure that I do a better job in communicating. Even if things are running slow, at least just trying to put some content out on a weekly basis that just says, hey, here's where we're at with this, here's where we're at with that. That's why there's no guessing. But the reality of development, especially when we've got complex projects and third-party providers, that we do run into development roadblocks or personal roadblocks or whatever. So please, accept my apologies on that and understand that we are working, very hard to get this out. So where are we at in terms of progress? So number one, the whole wallet side of things is all connected. That actually did take a lot longer because of a whole lot of authentication issues between the two platforms, etc. But we've managed to resolve all of that now and got, that pipeline kind of set up, which is kind of the first sort of major thing. The other area that is going on in the background right now is the 3D model conversion. So the VeVeVerse uses a slightly different format for the 3D models, and each of those models need to be run through a script and processed. And there's I think we've dropped almost 800 individual collectibles. So there's a lot of assets that need to get converted. And there's a whole bunch that are very, very simple, right? Static models, basic animation, that's all fine. However, as you guys know, we have a lot of models and collectibles that have interactivity, like the vehicles and any other kind of click to, activate some kind of interactivity. So those need to have custom scripts sort of rewritten for them. And then the last part of it is just that we need to review each asset for accuracy to make sure it looks good. So that's a whole process that's going on in the background at the moment.
Cool. So as we talk, I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but I was going to say, I think we have at least some videos that we were going to share of like where, what the VeVeVerse looks like now and some of the things you've been working on. Why don't we show some of those while you talk about the plan to extend to the initial beta users and beyond in the coming quarters?
Yep, great idea, Alex. Cool. So yeah, just some other things that we are working on in the background is all of the user policies, right? So number one, you will be a space owner of your particular VeVe home space. And there's a few other user policies that are set up as well. For example, you can invite a guest visitor who can come in, look at your VeVe home, but they can't do anything or interact with it. However, you can also invite somebody who is a guest creator. Say, for example, you know, one of the Vaultaholics is super great at setting up your interior, but you're not really much of an interior designer. So you will be able to invite guest creators in to help you kind of set things up, etc. There are a few other important UI updates just to bring things a little bit more in line with VeVe. These are all things that are just going to happen over time, making sure that, you know, very specific features are highlighted. It's very easy for you to find your VeVe collectibles or your VeVe comics. And in terms of the rollout, so next step is getting the 20 beta testers in. As I say, I apologize that they aren't in yet. I wanted to obviously have them in before now, but we need to have these kind of core things set up first. So getting the small group of beta testers in, once that all goes well, we'll move to 100, 500, 1,000, and then really just roll out exactly as we do with the other features. You know, I think Mitch normally likes to get to sort of 20,000 odd users before we start to roll it out. So in terms of the timeline on that one, again, you know, just to reiterate, we are obviously working as fast as we can on this, but there will be some issues that are going to come up from the beta testing that we're going to need to address, and that may add some extra time. But overall, you know, very excited for the VeVeVerse. I hope you guys are liking the video. I think it's you know, it's really coming along well. It's super customizable and just such a massive step up from you know, what we're offering in terms of showrooms at the moment.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. And I know a lot of people are eager to start getting in there and playing around. I know I am. So let's keep an eye out for any updates in the coming weeks. Okay, so let's see. Coming out of that, what do we want to touch on next? Do we want to go to David and Dan's Collectible Corner, or do you want to talk about Season 5? Let's talk about both.
Yeah, let's think about Season 5, right?
Yeah, Season 5, and then we'll go on to Collectible Corner.
Yeah, Season 5 has been, you know, in my point of view, has been very different. Obviously, the market and how many variety of product that we're bringing out compared to where we were 12 months ago today. But definitely, our whole idea is to have variety of product out to our community and our users as soon as we can. But closing up for Season 5, and before we touch on base, is that with Gary Basement, he has a museum show down here in Nelson that I believe it's closing around June. So for all the Kiwis watching this, you have a chance to go down and see some great artwork he has done. And while Gary was in Auckland, I was very lucky to host him for a couple of days, showing him around, talk about other collabs that we have coming up in the future. And he was kind enough to give us a special airdrop for our Toby holders out there who has completed the Toby set. It will be dropping hopefully around the 30th of May. And I do believe that me and Dan are still in the discussion. Maybe we will be using the crafting. So you technically need to go into the crafting section, and to redeem that airdrop, you kind of have to show you. And this is a good way. We want to practice it as more and more to get people to use to go in, and rather than just having a collectible drop in their wallet. So it's going to go through that process.
Okay, yeah, so all right. So in this case, would there be a snapshot taken, or is it just at the time of crafting you hold the required collectibles?
I think that's still to be decided at this stage, but we'll make sure we communicate that quite clearly. But yeah, just to touch on something Dave said, yeah, moving forward, obviously there will still be some airdrops, but generally our airdrops are based on if you have X and Y or whatever. So we'll probably move that to the crafting the crafting model in future. It's going to be a lot more fun, and you guys can kind of do it at your own leisure.
Got it. Okay. All right. So crafting coming sooner than later. That's exciting. Good stuff. All right. So let's, well, I guess just to kind of touch on end of season 5, starting with season 6 on May 16th. Is that correct? That's the date, right?
Yeah.
May 16th, season 6. All right. David, you first. What was your favorite season 5 collectible?
Yeah, my favorite collectible has to be Sesame Street Cookie Monster. And there's many reasons behind it. Number one, it's just amazing model. It's really, and I have a lot of VeVe fans have reached out to me to tell me that it's one of the collectible that has great interactive storytelling. It's one of those things you could be putting it in front of kids, adults in your kitchen, and it does something. And we'll see many more other Sesame Street model come out, and eventually you can put a diorama, put a whole street full of them out there, and that would be cool fun. So that's one of my most favorable collectible from season 5.
All right. Dan, how about you? What was your favorite season 5?
To be honest, it was very, very difficult. So I'd like to mention some honorable runners-up, if you don't mind, which is number 1, Blue Todd. I mean, I just think, in the physical world, that is a very rare collectible, I think out of Japan. So, and I think he just looks so awesome in the blue. Swamp Thing, I also really liked, just because, there was a lot of animation, a lot of detail and sort of subtlety going into that one. RoboCop, platinum moments, but I guess for me, being a car fan, was the Lambo drop. Those models just looked so amazing, the interactivity, and it's Lambo. I mean, it's so kind of iconic in this space. So for me, even though it was very difficult, that's my top pick.
Yeah, I gotta, those are probably my top 2 as well. The animation cycle on Cookie Monster just brought the biggest smile to my face. As obviously, like a lot of us did grow up with Sesame Street, and just seeing that, and hearing the vocalization, seeing the cookies being baked and eaten, really just kind of tugged at some heartstrings for me. And I've seen the next one that we're going to be releasing, and it is awesome as well. And also shout out to who did the Comics and Crypto did an amazing video with a group of kids around that Cookie Monster collectible, and it really just illustrated I think the potential for storytelling in the digital collecting space. I think with as much as we appreciated the Variety article, I think there was some misconception out there that we were selling a flat image, right? And so I would have loved to have the video included on that. And I think we're going to aim to do a lot more with these collectibles moving forward, with any collectibles that have an animation cycle or whatever the case is, just to really illustrate just how intricate these things are in terms of quality, 3D animation, sound, etc. And I think there's, for season 6, I know there are a few key interactive pieces coming up, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, those are good picks. Lambo and Cookie Monster, can't go wrong. Miles Morales was season 5 too, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah, I think he was also amazing. Yeah.
Oof, yeah, that one was good.
Yeah, so season 5 has been one of our blockbuster, obviously, and just and I do read a lot of comment from the community. They talk about, hey, there's so many 2D posters. What the hell's going on? I just want the audience and our VeVe fan to understand that we try to run this business, and there's multiple moving parts, and we talked about the VeVeVerse. I mean, when we start dropping you that home, you have empty walls, and you want some 2D posters to be on the wall. So you have to keep in mind, we are making these assets months and months ahead. So if there's one moving part slightly delay, doesn't mean we're gonna hold all those posters for later on. We are gonna keep the show rolling, and basically, if you're lucky enough to grab some of the lower editions, your house is gonna lit with all of those beautiful prints.
Yeah. And also, obviously, we're at the end of the day, a collectible store, right? And at a collectible store, you find a number of different types of collectibles, be it statues, comics, posters, whatever the case is. And we continue to roll out more and more product types as we kind of get further down the roadmap here. And I think maybe by next community update, David, you might have some updates for us in new collectible types, hopefully. I know you've been working on a few things.
Yeah, I mean, we always constantly working. As a collector, I want as much content as possibly can, so we can, be out there, beat our competitions. We are constantly engaging with licensors to bring more fandom, and just keep in mind, not every collectible in VeVe is going to be your taste. It's there to cater for different type of market, different age groups, and we have seen from Sesame Street all the way to Tarzan, and even RoboCop. They are all very different, and that's what fandom is. These creations and these IP all come together.
Yeah, it's a little something for everybody. Okay, let's roll in then to David and Dan Collectible Corner. Roll the intro, everybody. Hello, welcome. Once again, it's been quite some time until we visited David and Dan's Collectible Corner, and Alex. This time around, I do have some stuff in my background for once. But let's start with Dan, because Dan never likes to follow David. So we'll start with you.
I'm actually just going to quickly grab something off the shelf so I forgot to get it.
All right, I'll go first. All right, check it out. This is my my new acquisition. I'm very excited about it. This is my 1000% chrome Pink Panther bear brick. Shout out to 3D Retro, who's moving to Vegas apparently. So I got a chance to visit the store. No more 3D Retro in Glendale after this summer. So they were having a sale, and I got to visit the parking lot sale, and I picked up that bad boy. I'm very excited. And then also my Camille Rose Garcia Voltura Mocabra, as well as, of course, my Todd. And that's it. That's all I have for today. Dan, how about you?
Yeah, so for me, this was an artist that I met at Decon in Anaheim last year, a guy by the name of Tracy Tabera. He does these really amazing, just stylized, like super funky street. I do have a couple more, but unfortunately they're way up on the shelf above that one, so I can't actually reach it without a stool. But I mean, yeah, I just love his work, the way he kind of characterizes the the superheroes that we know and love. He's got a very, very, just kind of cool, unique look to it.
Fantastic.
Yes. Yeah, that's really cool. All right, that is a good one. How about you, David? What do you guys see? Toby back there. We already talked about Toby, so.
Well, he's doing a mega job. So today I'm going to show off my comics. I thought I'd bring something a bit different. Recently, we'll probably have seen in the VeVe app that we have dropped the Frank Miller Batman Black and White. I was very fortunate to meet Todd himself, and I managed to get a few comic in the slab. This is a cover artwork of a Batman he's done.
That's Frank Miller, right?
Frank Miller?
Yeah, he's super famous, man. Super famous.
He is extremely. He's like one of the godfather of comic. He created, obviously, Elektra, Daredevil. He is one of the famous Dark Knight Return #1 cover sign, a 9.8. The beauty about that is his original artwork actually sold at Heritage Auction for I think 2.4 million June. Wow. My final finale of the collectible, which it's my favorite collectible on comic on season 5, is Tale of Suspense. First appearance of nice. I didn't manage to get one on the drop. I am going to get one on the marketplace sometime this coming week. And just one more last thing before we sign off is that bots are back. So Patrick Hugh is dropping. Robotic. Alex, you want to roll out what we're doing here?
Yes, Series 2 of Reverspective from Patrick Hughes is coming dropping on the 30th of April. So hopefully this video is out before then. I have a feeling it will be, but we will have announced that by then. But make sure you check the details in the blog, because we are giving away a physical piece of that exact physical piece for in a AR photo competition on the platform. So if you pick up the piece on VeVe, take some pictures in AR with it and show it how you're displaying it in your home, we'll pick one lucky winner to get an actual physical piece of that Patrick Hughes artwork robotic. Amazing.
And is that signed, David? I think it's signed as well.
Yeah, it is signed.
Oh, it's signed.
And it is edition as well. It's one of the 60 editions. We're not sure which one you'll be getting, but I did have it in writing from Patrick's team that he only made 30 of these. So one lucky winner will get one of those. And I checked out the website. It's like $6,000 or $7,000 US in retail plus tax and shipping. So one lucky winner will get this delivered to them, on the best AR. And you guys, some of you guys were very lucky to meet Patrick in London.
Yes.
At VeVe. That was an amazing experience. And he has a studio in London, where I was very fortunate to able to visit him, looked at some of the original painting, and God, they go for a couple £100,000 each. Crazy, amazing artist, super popular, and now one of our earliest seasons.
Wow, yeah, what a giveaway. That is probably one of the coolest giveaways we've done to date. Amazing. Yeah, I can't, good luck to everybody who plans to participate. Again, check all the details in the blog article for that drop. We'll outline all the rules, and make sure you try to get a piece, man. It's going to be amazing. There are three pieces in this drop, one of which is that robotic, and then you have a chance to win the physical with the AR photo competition. All right, everybody, thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for continuing to be part of this community, being part of the VeVe fam. We're so excited to show you what we've been working on all this time. Kind of, although it seems we've been laying low, we have been hard at work on really kind of lining up a really robust set of things for you in the coming months, to include crafting, MCP, VeVeVerse, etc. Everybody, have a good one. We're going to leave you with that video I mentioned earlier with comics and crypto and the Cookie Monster as part of our VeVe fan community highlight. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.